Hello guys, Tops here. And today I finished my cultist run and we played pretty long and I wanted to farm all the candles for the boys. I didn't quite get all the candles, they dodged a lot of the times. So, first and foremost, how did the cultist do the cultist works? Basically, you start with cultist and every 30 days you have an event where your cultist, one of your cultists gets sacrificed. And all of the cultists get a good mood, and everybody who is not a cultist gets a bad mood. And the good mood, also your bros have a 50% chance of getting a candles. And the candle buffs are crazy strong. What are the candle buffs? So first and foremost, in the beginning you get resolve on candle 1 and 2. Then you get +2 fatigue recovery on your third candle. On the fourth candle, you get +20 hit points. And on the fifth candle, you get +5 range and melee defense. And in between, also you get that no moral checks are triggered upon allies dying and upon losing hit points, as well as you are not affected by fresh injuries sustained during the current battle. That's crazy strong. Like, that is absolutely crazy strong. Downside is you can only convert most low bonds into cultist and not all low bonds. Most high bonds cannot convert it into cultist unless they are dump. I'm pretty sure I have a dump guy. Yeah. So if you find a dump hedge knight, you can make him into a cultist. If you don't find a dump guy, you can try to brain damage him. And in order to do that, I have bought the surgeon, and the surgeon makes your bros survive, basically, on the first time they get killed, and they survive with a permanent injury. Which means you can fish for brain damage. 1 in 11 chance that you get a brain damage. You can either reload and retry as long as you want, or you can just not do that and just hire a bunch of hedge knights until you get one guy that is brain damaged. And that is basically the way to recruit. You either recruit lowborn and wait for them to get converted to a cultist, which is also a cultist event that a cultist might proc. Or you try to find dumb highborns, or you try to brain damage highborns with the surgeon on top of that. So this is how you recruit. And the basic problem is that you have a lot of lowborns early in the playthrough, and it is really hard to get highborns in the later stages of the game. You have to jump through many hoops, but you can make it. So your pool of recruits is reduced, but that gets kind of like okay if you realize how strong the candle buffs are. That's kind of like the balance of the game. You have a lower pool of recruits, and a more tight pool of recruits. You don't have as many normal recruits that you can recruit, but therefore the more cultists you have with candles, the stronger your company gets. I highly recommend you install the event frequency mods for cultists. You can download that on Nexus mods, and you get the events basically faster. There's also a famed armor that you get from 2 events from the cultist, which is the aspect of Darth Cool, which is a famed Battleforge armor that lets you, this armor restores 90 health per turn, and you get the Glimpse of Darth Cool, which does the same thing. And the Glimpse of Darth Cool, funny enough, doesn't have a vision penalty for 270 armor, so you can give that guy, as I did to my crossbow guy, the helmet to a crossbow guy, and you don't suffer the vision penalty. That's super nice. You can potentially give that guy to an archer if you want to Battleforge your archer, like I did during a playthrough. So, yeah, that's kind of like how you recruit, how cultists basically work, and what you get. Your bonuses are crazy strong. I think Cultist is probably the strongest late game company out there. And yeah, let's start. How did I build my company? I have made a forge tank, and he got the golden shield from the Sunken Library. I made him Lone Wolf, and all the good stuff, all the good defensive perks that you want for a Forge tank. By the way, the fact that you have +2 fatigue recovery per turn, and I have forgotten, one of your guys becomes the Prophet of Darkghoul, which is basically after 5 candles, you have the maximum buff, and the 6th candle is the Prophet of Darkghoul, but only one guy can get that. And you want to make sure that your bannerman gets that, because he will spam the Voice of Darkghoul. And that's what you get, the Voice of Darkghoul, is the bonus you get from the 6th candle. It costs 6 action points and 35 fatigue, but it reduces from all of your cultists the fatigue by -10 instantly. It's kind of like the Barbarian Drummers. This thing is crazy strong. Crazy strong. And you want to make sure that you have that on your bannerman. So you can spam the voices, and you want to make sure that your bannerman has maximum fatigue in order to spam the voices. And this, in combination with the +2 fatigue recovery per turn from the candles, means that you have a lot of stamina to use, and at the same time you have much more resolve and hit points than usual on a lot of backliners. Like, as you can see, most of my bros have more than 100 hit points and crazy resolve values. This guy just has 80 resolve, 67, 60, 60, 85. That's also because of the brain damage, but this guy doesn't have brain damage. This guy just has 80 resolve from the candles and the arena buff. Like +20 resolve, 60 base. Like, cultists have already pretty high base resolve, and from the buffs that you get, +10 resolve, it just brings it to a crazy amount. As well as the brain damage trait significantly, if you brain damage your guys, significantly increases your resolve. You get +15. So this guy is just +85 resolve. It is, like the raw stats that you get are just absolutely crazy and make your bros completely insane. And so therefore you want to build a lot of AoE builds that do a lot of damage, and you can try out, if I would replay this, I would probably play a lot with Adrenaline, which costs a lot of fatigue to use, 25 fatigue. But you basically always act first and do a shit ton of damage. So I would probably use a lot of Adrenaline, a lot more, if I would replay this origin. Yeah, also Battleforge goes well with this origin because you have more fatigue and additional fatigue recovery, higher resolve and whatnot. So Battleforge AoE builds seem to way to go, probably with Adrenaline, with this run. So, as you can see, I have 3 greatswords in my team. I found 3 famed greatswords. This is the only one that is really good, with additional damage and armor pen. And I have given them Headhunter and Executioner for additional damage, and they perform well with that. Also helps out the bros that have low mini skill, right? The 2-handed swords. Really like that one. I liked my flail guy with Headhunter and Executioner. And by the way, because you have +20 hit points from the candles, a lot of the times you can skip Colossus. And a lot of the times you can skip something like Gifted and stuff like that, because you have so many additional stats. You potentially can skip things like Brawny to recover on builds, because you just have so much additional fatigue to play with. Yeah. Anyways, I really like this guy, my flail guy. Did a shit ton of damage. I have an Iron Lungs Cleaver. This guy recovers +20 fatigue per turn because of candle buffs and Iron Lungs. This guy is an absolute monster. 94 for usable fatigue. And also I like the position. Wait, I just did Monolith. What I really liked on him was putting him in front of the Bannerman with the aspect of Darkghoul and the Ejork helmet. Because this guy, the opponent's AI, the archers, they like to shoot at the center of your formation, and they like to target the Bannerman. So putting this guy with regenerating armor and regenerating health in front of the Bannerman helped me to absorb a shit ton of damage from archers in a lot of fights, especially big Nomad and Brigand late game camps. I completely, because most of the brigands, the marksmen and the archers, they shot at this guy, but the armor as well as the hit points just regenerated. So this guy just freely absorbed a lot of fire. So I really like this guy at the position in the center of my formation, right in front of the banner. You can do this with your bannerman potentially too, as well. Yeah, really like the cleaver with Iron Lungs. Just an absolute monster. I played him with Headhunter, didn't like it that much. The Executioner would have been probably a little bit more nicer. Fearsome goes well with this Origin, because as you can see, your bros have high resolve, so it is actually pretty likely that your DPS bros have 60 resolve, 70 resolve, 80 resolve. So even without playing fatigue neutral, like, it's probably the only way where you get enough stats, like enough hit points, enough fatigue, enough resolve to make the Berserk Fearsome build worth it, in combination with Battleforge, of course. Yeah, and then we have a Sword Duelist. It's just a Sword Duelist. High defense, low attack with the Kraken Sword. Great X guy. Yeah, the Great X guys. I like him. With Headhunter, Executioner, just absolute monsters, as you guys saw. I have skipped Colossus on this guy. This was I think Maxwell Hedge Knights with 2 stars, who was Stump. Yeah, crazy good. Crazy good. That you 93 hit points without Colossus. And without leveling hit points, by the way. Just through the candles. Absolutely crazy. This guy, another Great X guy, one of my, I think Retired Soldier, was one of my first hires. Absolute monster at this point of the game. I have made him with 9 lives. Yeah, it's kind of okay too. The 9 lives just makes him super defensive, but like, he was never in danger at some point. Another great sword guy with Executioner Headhunter. Really like the combination Headhunter Executioner. Helps out the lower damage from the sword. The sword has more armor pen. And yeah, high defense this guy. I really had like the Quick Hand Hammer guy with Headhunter. Just absolutely demolish opponents' armors. The fastest way to kill a lot of opponents is through headshots, especially Orc Warriors. And if you get headshotted by the two-handed hammer or this hammer, this has plus 21% chance to hit head, by the way. Like, you are almost guaranteed to injure your opponent, and the head armor will be gone completely, if not right out, kill weaker opponents. So the Headhunter hammer build is something I really liked. Same with the sword lance, the Headhunter Executioner on this build. It's just super strong, really like it. This was a Maxwell Hedge Knight with a triple star melee attack. Absolute monster, really like that guy. And then we come to the more experimental stuff. We have the brain damage guys, the Nimble Forge guys. This is Nimble Forge Mace Katal. Yeah, well, he rolled poorly on his defense. His survivability is lower than Pure Forge, but we have more fatigue, so yeah, well, I don't like Nimble Forge that much, but I'm also still experimenting with that. Then we have a Trash Fencer with low attack, kind of low attack, but fairly high initiative. It's alright. The problem is a lot of the high initiative backgrounds can't be dumped, and as soon as you brain damage them, you also lose a lot of initiative. How much do you lose? You lose 25% initiative. So it is actually really hard to build a really good fencer with this origin. That is what I have found, at least. That is the same with archers. I didn't try to brain damage hunters, but hunters can't be dumped, so it still can be a little bit hard to find archers. This guy is a poacher, 3-star poacher, and it's kind of about the best you can get, which is, for my liking, not quite as good. Then we have Nimble Forge, Headhunter Greatsword, again with the candle buffs. Quite survivable. He's missing his 5th candle for the additional defense. Has a little bit low defense, sadly, but hey. Crossbow Polearm, Battle Forged with Iron Lungs. Quite decent in stats with the candles. Again, you have a lot of the times the opportunity to skip Colossus, which means in combination with the additional fatigue that you can Battleforge builds that you wouldn't be normally Battleforging. Quite good. Quite like this guy. It's always like decent utility early mid game and decent damage, especially with the spiked impaler that pushes back opponents. Quite nice. Aspect of Darth Cool lets me use a full Battleforge helmet without penalty of division. Something to consider. Ex-Duelist, still missing his candles, has too low HP, again, even with Colossus, but has high attack and really high fatigue with a famed axe. So this guy with the Headhunter has quite a high output, but I skipped recover, which was kind of a mistake. Like playing ex-duelist or even something like a mace duelist without recover on, even on this origin where you have so much fatigue recovery, it feels kind of hard. Even my Iron Lungs cleaver accumulates fatigue fairly fast, but on him it is okay. But without Iron Lungs, you can't really skip recover. And even with Iron Lungs, I would like to have recover, because you use so much of your fatigue with your weapons. Then we have a Nimble Dodge tank, who read the back book again. Quite nice, those guys, having one of those. I like to have a Forge and a Nimble tank. They are pretty well. They go pretty well together, having like a fast guy who can tank down Unholds with Indom, and a super heavy guy with a Lone Wolf who you can just leave completely isolated and alone. He will be fine. This guy just has 100 resolve without arena. It's just crazy how much resolve you have. Iron Lungs, so he's recovering +5 fatigue per turn, so he can permanently shield wall with shield mastery. I would recommend searching for an Iron Lungs guy. Even if you have lower defense, Iron Lungs just makes this guy incredibly useful. He's only 25 defense, but the Iron Lungs trait makes up for the fact that you can permanently shield wall. You always have enough fatigue to use your shield wall. Yeah, this is my company, and I really like the AoE builds and high fatigue using damage builds. I don't have many duelists, but especially the cleaver was just an absolute monster with 20 fatigue recovery per turn. Absolutely crazy. Yeah. I took a lot of Headhunter for additional damage. You could have taken something else, of course, if you like Fearsome more. That's also fine. And it felt like a really strong company at the end of the game. And even before then, it's a really strong company. Also, I enjoy the fact that you're kind of playing your own minigame by recruiting cultists and hunting the candles from Daddy Cool. Kind of nice. Really like the playthrough of the cultists. Can highly recommend that, but I would also recommend using the increased event frequency mod for the cultists. So yeah, that is that. This is it for my kind of like how I build my cultists and what I think is strong with the cultists. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I live stream daily, so you can watch me there. And please like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Have a nice day, guys. Stay awesome. Bye-bye.